Come in.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. My name is Mr. Baig, and I'm from Salesforce.
Hi,
Nice
I'm
to
Mark.
meet you. Nice to meet you, Mark. How's your day going?
Good. Take a
It's
seat.
been well, thank you. How's everything been going for you? The weather, the cold, everything's good?
Well, a lot of wind here the last day, so
Yeah, definitely,
that was caused a lot of excitement, and a lot of people lost power. But
for sure.
how about you?
It's been pretty well. I recently just got back from being out of town, so I'm just catching up on the Texas cold.
All right.
I came back from a warm area.
Okay. So you brought the cold with you.
Yup, brought the cold with me. But so let's get started with the Salesforce topic. So, what's going on with your current systems? Like, walk me through how Linux systems are doing, what you guys currently use for sales and stuff like that.
So we're primarily using Microsoft products today with our sales team. A lot of Excel usage.
Mm.
So we have our sales team is doing a lot of prospecting.
Mm.
So we have a template we call our opportunity scorecard, and that allows them to go through a list of questions that are relevant for our industry.
Mm.
We sell our HVAC products to a dealer.
Mm.
They sell to a homeowner, so it's a B2B2C kind of model. So we need to know whether or not that dealer has the right amount of potential for us to do more business with them,
Mm.
especially if the territory manager is going to be involved in managing the account.
Yeah.
So they'll do a lot of scorecarding. They'll provide information on the accounts they're trying to work on to bring to Linux, and they'll email those files in to my team.
Mm.
And then we aggregate all of that for our VP of sales so they can see what does that look like by territory, by district, by region for our company. Each of our salespeople also manages a book of business.
Mm.
So they have 20 to 30 accounts that they manage, and they're involved in marketing programs and sales programs. So my team provides a lot of information to our salespeople about their current customers. So we're dividing those files either by territory or district, and sending them to them at different frequencies so they can understand their customers' involvement. Obviously, they use a lot of Outlook to
Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
We use Teams for a lot of collaboration that we do, and then PowerPoint, Word, things like that. But when it comes to the data management, it's mainly Excel.
Okay. Would you mind if I take some notes while
Go
we're in the
ahead.
meeting? Okay, cool. So primarily, you guys have been using Microsoft apps and tools pretty much for your
Yes.
systems. Okay. And how's that working out for you? Have you had any issues? Stuff like that.
So coming into the organization, we're a 130-year-old company,
Mm.
so we've obviously been successful to last that long. But one of the things that we're trying to do is reduce manual effort for our sales team.
Okay.
They're probably spending 70% of their time selling, the other 30% non-selling.
Mm.
So that includes some of the data entry, that includes finding information, communication, things like that. So we really are trying to solve visibility at the executive level.
Mm.
Our VP of sales and his region directors need better information to know what opportunities are out there.
Mm.
And then they would also like to have better visibility on the kinds of activities our sales team is doing.
That makes sense.
Not from an HR perspective, but more for, are they doing the sales calls we expect them to do?
Mm.
We ask every salesperson to do a minimum of 10 in-person sales calls per week. So kind of 2 per day is the minimum expectation.
Mm.
Are they meeting that? And when we look at someone who's not meeting their sales goals for their quota or new business or pricing, we want to be able to look at why.
Yeah.
Is it related to they're doing the activities, but their customers are just having issues based on market dynamics or competitive things? Or is the salesperson not doing the right level of activities? And so we need our sales leadership and sales management to have better visibility
Mm.
to the activities so they can coach our team at a better level.
Absolutely. So it sounds like what you're struggling with is basically having data visibility, making sure to streamline the whole sales process and improve efficiency among your salespeople.
Yep.
So yeah, that makes sense. And do you feel like Microsoft apps and tools have helped you streamline that process or made it better?
I mean, It's better than the old printout sheets that used to have to be mailed.
Yeah.
But again, I think the bigger issue is, you know, the data files are getting so big
Mm-hmm.
that Excel crashes,
Yeah.
right? And my team has to divide our information, 200 sellers we have.
Mm-hmm.
And across the regions and districts we are looking, that's a lot of files to divide in order to keep visibility at the right level.
Absolutely.
I don't want to send information on 10,000 customers to one person
Yeah.
and then they quit and they can walk away, even though they sign confidentiality agreements. Um, we're concerned about what information we share,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a balance, right? They have to have information to service the customer,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to have information to know what's happening, to know what our pipeline is. So we're really looking at efficiencies on both sides. Corporate efficiency, so we can have better visibility for our executives on what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
and then productivity to get information to our salespeople so they can have more productive sales calls.
Absolutely.
And the security.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want people walking away with information.
No, absolutely, that makes sense.
We want to make sure that they only see what they really need to see. Obviously, a big question about using a CRM system like Salesforce is it's cloud-based.
Mm-hmm.
That means our data is out in the cloud.
Yeah.
And,
Easily accessible by the parties. Yeah.
yes, it makes it accessible, but what is Salesforce doing to keep it private, to keep
Mm-hmm.
it secure? And then if our team is accessing it in the cloud, how do we make sure they only access what they're supposed to access?
No, absolutely. Those are very valid concerns. And before I go into more about how Salesforce would do it, I heard you mention earlier saying how long the longevity of Linux has been around, which is very impressive. But I was wondering if you ever talked to other competitive companies to know what they're doing, how they're able to streamline the processes, or if they've ever switched to Salesforce.
Um, we obviously with the competition, we try to keep up to date on what they're doing, but there's certain things that they're not willing to share and that we don't want to share either.
Yeah.
So what I'm more interested in doing is looking at companies in different industries who have the same business model.
Mm.
So we sell to a dealer who sells to a homeowner.
Mm.
So think John Deere, right? They sell to a dealer who sells tractors to farms or to private citizens. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we do a lot of discussions with companies like Gartner to understand what's happening in other industries.
Mm.
And then what I'd want to do in this case would be to understand what are other companies that have a similar business model. I'm not interested in sharing my information with the competition,
No,
and I
absolutely.
wouldn't
Yeah.
ask them for their information. But if we could look at like business models, I would love to learn what other companies that you're working with are doing
Mm.
in the automotive space, in the manufacturing space,
Mm.
to see how they've effectively used a tool like this.
Absolutely. So if I were to show you other companies, that have used Salesforce, that have transitioned successfully and have pretty much streamlined all their processes, maintain data visibility, would you be open to learn more about that? Or,
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe possibly a second meeting where I show you a presentation
Mm-hmm.
about this. Would you be open to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because the thing about Salesforce, if let's say, when we transition you to a new system, if that happens, it'll provide you a more exactly what you want, more data protection and visibility from it won't be in a cloud. Basically Salesforce has its own system. It has its own, you could say cloud, but the thing is this is within Salesforce private sector. So all this information is stored within their own personal database, which is directly keyed to you, whoever is the admin owner of the specific Salesforce and stuff like that. And I believe, you want there to be more collaboration between internal salesmen, between the regional managers, sales managers, and all that stuff. And Salesforce can definitely provide that for you.
Okay.
And if you would like, I can prepare a whole presentation for you and show you, exactly what we can go from next to give you more insights and information that can possibly show you how Salesforce can actually improve your product, your productivity, your efficiency, and help you get to that streamlined process that you want to go, which Microsoft tools may be a little limited to. Because I remember you saying Excel seems to crash a lot. because they can't handle that much data.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
more and more data that we put in it, you know, it has that propensity, and there's been certain types of data that is pretty intense as far as the number of columns, the number of rows.
Absolutely.
You know, when you're trying to extract data out of an ERP system, you know, that can be very,
For sure.
cause a lot of time, and then, you know, we have to have a second computer for an analyst so they can have it running and downloading and then actually do their work.
Of course, managers, the best thing they want to do is save time and increase productivity, right? So, like I said, would you be open to a second meeting where I can show you your presentation?
I'm open to another meeting.
Mhm.
I think one of the other big questions I have is the pricing.
Absolutely. Pricing, as far as that goes, what we'll do is we'll first figure out exactly how we're going to transition into your new system, what kind of databases we require, and then from there we can pretty much create that pricing system that goes from there.
Okay.
And maybe we'll work out something, negotiate something that works for your favor. That doesn't, impact your revenue too much. It'll actually, once you implement the system, you can include it into your revenue, your profit, and all that stuff should be beneficial from this new system transaction.
Okay.
Sir, would you mind if I get your email?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's Mark MARK dot Yonai YONAI at Lennox.com, and it's LENNOX.com.
Got it. All right, Mark. Thanks so much for your time, sir. Is there
right.
any other questions you have for me?
No, not at this point.
All right. Thanks so much, sir.
All right,
Yeah.
thank
Good
you.
night. Be safe.
All right, let me give you some feedback.
For sure.